Hey there, everybody. How's it going today? This is Jodian, and I am feeling rather under the weather. But I'm gonna play some Stormworks anyways. You know what? The weather on this intro screen right here pretty much describes how I'm feeling today. But I'm trying to stay in a positive mood, trying to stay happy, and forget that I'm feeling like crap. Anyway, so here we are in Stormworks, and today I'm gonna do a I'm just going to go over a build that I've been working on. Excuse me. For the hull was built by an individual, and I hope I pronounce this correctly, called TheSpoonkosch. I hope that's pronounced correctly. um, and then I took his hull because I'm not that good at or proficient at building hull designs. Trains I can do, aircraft and helicopters, but when it comes to boat designing, I seem to have an issue there. I was able to build my I was able to build a catamaran, not too bad, and I think I did a pretty pretty decent job on some of the other boats that I've built, where I did the hull. But for the most part, if I'm looking for a hull that looks really nice, I go to the workshop because there's some really talented people there, and this is one of them. So huge shout out to him, and I'll go in and see if I can get his actual written name here, probably in the workshop, and we're just gonna run over here, or we're gonna hop over here, and I'm gonna get rid of the weather just for now. So override time of day because I want it to stay daytime, and we'll get rid of the weather for now just to clean it up. Infinite electric turned off, infinite fuel turned off. This is my play area, but it's also I also want it to have that aspect of realism where electric and fuel are things that are real. But as you can see, infinite money's turned on, auto refuel's turned on, engine overheating is turned on, because I also want this to be a functioning world where, yes, I can mess around and build what I want, but at the same note, there's still challenges to be overcome. So I'm going to load here, and I'm going to hop over to the workshop area, and as you can see, it is right, if I can find it, right here. This is the sub that he built. It's a sub hull. It's fairly empty. He does have some fuel tanks, which are located, I believe, down the mid right here. Yeah, this is a fuel tank here, above, below, and I believe right behind them are two more fuel tanks. Yes, above and below here, which is great because it was already designed for diesel. I had originally built a diesel sub. I could not, however, get it to be self-sufficient. As it were, I kept having to return to the batteries would run low underwater, so I kept having to return to the surface to run the diesel because you can't run diesel underwater. So that would be my issue with that. The back of the hull, you can see his design, which I'm not knocking his design at all. It's a really wonderful design, and I am grateful that he posted it. But his design comes up here, not really anywhere to put. I mean, you could probably push a prop through somewhere there, but I had a lot of difficulty putting a prop through, or putting a couple of props through, so I had to make some minor adjustments in the rear hull, and you'll see that when I go to my design. But otherwise, I love the conning tower. The conning tower is awesome. It is an amazing build. I had to relocate some of this stuff. I took the battery out of here. I took this stuff out of here, and replaced it with a steering column. You'll see that in a second. Down here, I love this little area right here. It's just tall enough for a person, which is great. I put my consoles right here for all my power and everything. I hid it in there, which I'll show you. And I also found that I had to do something with this ladder because the ladder did not let you get off into this area. Having the ladder here, this area was completely incapable of being accessed except for looking left, looking right while you're on the ladder. You could not actually do anything in this area. So I decided to modify that a little bit, which you'll see in my design, or my redesign, sorry, just to give some ideas on some of the modifications I did and why I did them. So yeah, I love the hull. It's an amazing hull. It's well built. It looks great, and it floats great. It drives great. These ballast tanks off on the side, I made them functional so that they are actually in use in my design, or my functionality. But I made them. I used them so that they will zero out the hull. As far as I don't use them to go up and down, for lack of saying anything else. I don't use them to go up and down. What I use them for is to get a neutral balance or close to a neutral balance, so I can use other forces to go up and down. And I'll load mine up now, so you can see. Where is my nuclear sub? There's my nuclear sub. I will load it up. This is my nuclear sub. As you can see, same hull. So I'm not taking anything away from him. He did a wonderful design on his hull, and I am so very thankful that he placed it online, so that others can use. I did modify the back end a little bit. You'll see it's a little bit more. It's hard to see because of the black, but you'll see it's a little more flat. I flattened this area out here. I at one point had propellers coming out of here, so I had to flatten this area, and I also adjusted right here so I could put a jet out. Just to find out what was the best form of propulsion for what I was looking for. Unfortunately, propellers, they burn through too much power. Not that the jet engine, or not that the jet doesn't burn through too much power too. It burns through a lot of battery power. And unfortunately, nuclear is highly, and I mean highly, underpowered in this game. Nuclear and steam, drastically underpowered. So I got a rudder on the back, rudders on the sides here, on either side. The reason I did that was to help steering a little bit. I mostly needed that for when I had propellers, but I left it in for the jet because it still aids with turning. You can see the row of thrusters down the side here. These are my up and down. This is what controls my depth, and it is needed to keep me at a specific level. I tried using buoyancy. Could not get it to work. It would either go straight down or down like this. It wouldn't stay level. It didn't matter how many sections I made. For some reason, just pumping in and pumping out water would not work. I could not get it to work. So I gave up on that and decided to go with this. Use the ballast tanks to get somewhat neutral buoyancy on the ship itself, and then use the thrusters to go up and down. And the thrusters will actually use less power than the nuclear reactor gives out, with the way I have it set up. So I can stay underwater indefinitely, just moving around, not so much, but I can stay underwater indefinitely. I added solar panels to the top, more of a look thing than anything else, because once the war system comes in, I plan on probably replacing this section here with some some rockets of some kind. So let me take you inside just while we're here. And I think maybe the best way to take you inside is by, I don't know if this is going to give me a good inside view. No, it's going to give me an ugly logic view. That's not going to work either. And that's going to show some components, but not all. All right. Well, I'll just go through. I'll show you here minor components that you can see. Maybe if I flip back and forth, you'll be able to see. Yeah, if I flip back and forth, you can kind of see everything. Okay, so in the back of the sub, I have my main drive unit, which is a medium electric engine, plus my jet here. And basically, it just grabs the water from, right from outside the hull at the bottom, right here. Grabs the water from there, pumps it up, and spits it out the back. That's all it does, using this electric motor. The nuclear reactor is right here. It's a nice small reactor. It's an H-shaped reactor, meaning the excuse me, the fuel rods are in an H shape. It's a 3x3, and the rods themselves are in an H shape, where I have two control rods the top and the bottom of that, just to fill in the gaps. So you can see there's the 2 control rods right there, and the reactor core itself is H-shaped. And you can kind of see that from the back, right here. So these are the bottom of the fuel rods, or fuel rod casings, whatever you want to call it. So it's an H shape. You can see the control rods are in between these, here and here, and I use my own system of control on that. Most of these up here are averagers. They're just taking the temperature of the fuel rods, they average them out, and then they provide that to my main fuel rod controller, which is the green one in the middle. This guy here. And what this does is basically takes the reactor number that I want the reactor to be at. This is the temperature I set my reactor at. And the reason I use a constant number for that is because it varies depending on build. Instead of programming it into my my system, my reactor system, my reactor control system, instead of programming a hard number in there, I use a constant number from outside so I can adjust it during this phase. And then once I'm done perfecting it and saying, okay, this is what the reactor temperature needs to be, I don't have to touch it again. I don't have to keep entering it every time I spawn, which I would have to with a keypad. I don't have to go back and modify my controller every time I want to change the reactor number. I just change the number in here, the constant number. Right now you see I have it set at 400, so when the rods reach 400, they insert the control rods and drop the temperature down. I think it's 350 that it pulls them back out. And so it keeps that reactor at a constant temperature, not really getting into the red line at all. And it's trial and error. It depends on the reactor. Whoops. So I kind of built that, where am I here? I kind of built this controller to suit any reactor that I build. All you got to do is average up the temperature of the control rods, and it'll process that, and it'll do the release. It'll do the actuators, so whether the control rods are in or out, and it'll also control the fuel rods, so the fuel rods go in and out. If it approaches 1200, which everybody knows that's bye-bye reactor, if it hits 1100 degrees, it automatically pulls the rods out, saying, whoa, we got a problem here, we're shutting it down. So that's why it controls those. And then there's the fuel rod temperature, which is all averaged up here through those averagers. And then, of course, the on and off. So it's one button, turn on the reactor, one button, shut off the reactor. That's it. I push the button, the reactor turns on. I push the button, the reactor turns off. I don't have to worry about doing any messing with it, any fine-tuning with it outside of this initial setup phase. Once I have it running the way I want, I just leave it alone and use the push button. Got a constant on signal sitting back here for some reason. Oh, I was using that for a clutch earlier. Okay. Okay, so as far as my boiler goes, my reactor's back here. My boiler is under the deck here, and I went with a simple setup for that too. I have the boiler, water being pumped into it from the reactor, of course. And then behind that is the 2 condensers. I have 2 condensers because I found one condenser wasn't cooling it enough. I wasn't getting the steam down far enough for it to stay water. And then what I'm finding with the reactors is you kind of have to play with how much water you give it to find your level of your pressure level. So I've got two medium tanks and 2 small tanks, and that seems to be enough water for this setup. Depending on the length of pipes and all that stuff, and how many boilers, how many coolers you have, all of this seems to change. At least I could be wrong about that, but with what I've been playing around with, it seems like it adjusts depending on length of pipe and how many things you have and what's going on, what temperatures you're producing. It all seems to bounce around. So for this build, I found that this setup works. And then, of course, in front of that, I have right here, I might have to go inside to show this because I can't see the, if I switch to it, no, it's still not going to show. So I'll go inside for this. Swing inside. I hate doing these camera views because they're harder to manipulate. So over in this room, I have steam boilers Got 4 steam boilers in a row in this room. You can see red pipes up here. I color code all my pipes. The yellow pipes are the steam coming into the boilers. Red pipes are hot water from the reactor. So you can see here that I got 4 steam boilers hooked up, and all of those. And orange, of course, is transmission. So you can see in between here, I'm just sneaking a view here. You can see I have a transmission there, or I have a gearbox there. I have the transmission coming out of the boilers, or out of the turbines, going into the gearbox and then out. I'll show you where that's going in a second. I have my controllers up here. Some of these are pre-made controllers, or some of these are pre-made systems, like this guy here, which is a knot controller. But these here are custom. I made them myself, and what they do is they control all the systems here. So when pressure starts to build actually I shouldn't say when pressure starts to build. When the boiler reaches 100 degrees, that's when pressure starts to build. So what I do is I give the steam turbines an initial boost, and you can see that right here. I got a clutch and a gearbox, or a clutch and electric motor. Oh my god. I have a clutch and an electric motor. And when the boiler hits 100 degrees, those are automatically turned on. So they're automatically set to 1, which, as you know, is full output for the electric motor, and clutch engaged, drive-in power through. Or disengaged, depending on who you are. It's either engaged or disengaged. But anyways, so that will run. Simultaneously, that will start up not only the boilers, or the steam turbines. Not only will that start spinning the steam turbines, but it will also, over here, initially start firing up these pumps. And these pumps are for sending steam under pressure down to the turbines. So we'll start getting steam here. The steam will be pressurized down the line to the down to these guys. I also have a system set up, which is I think it's this one here. Yeah, I believe it's that one there. Let me take a look. Oh no, it's this guy here. So this one's my controller for the clutch and the electric motor. This one here is my bypass controller right here. What this does is it takes the pressure from the boiler, reads it, and then outputs a control to this guy here, which is my relief valve. And this relief valve is what provides the steam to the steam turbines. So when there's no pressure, it runs closed, so it can build up pressure. Logically, this should work. I don't know if it actually does in Stormworks. I don't think it matters how building up pressure or whatever. Anyway, when the pressure's at a 2 in the boiler, it opens to 25%. When the pressure's at a 4 in the boiler, it opens to 50%, 75%, and 100%. So when it's above 8, when the pressure's above 8 in the boiler, this sucker goes to 100%. If the pressure hits 9, it shuts this valve here, which is my sending it to the turbines, and it opens this valve here, which is direct bypass back to the coolers. So all of the overpressure is bypassed directly back to the condensers back here. So this system, technically, in theory, should never be able to overload. It should never be able to explode unless so much pressure is built that it can't go through the pipe. I mean, that's always a possibility, but as far as I know, this is a way of keeping that from ever happening. Anyway, I'm moving right along. You can see each turbine has a gearbox, and I purposely don't have them hooked up because I don't need to switch gears. I just need it to run the gear that it's running, which is the 3-to-1, because that'll give me more. That'll give me more spinny. Heading up here, you see when we go through this bulkhead, there's a bulkhead right here. When we go through the bulkhead, we have another 1, 2, 3, 4, another 4 turbines, and they're hooked up the same way. You can see the clutch here with the gearbox down here and the batteries on the side here to get her going. So I have a total of 8 turbines Okay. Here is another boiler system over here. So that hot reactor water is coming all the way down the ship to this boiler system, which is a mirror of the boiler system over here. So you can see these are two mirrored systems. This here, they're identical, and then we have the turbines in the middle, turbines in the middle. So it's two identical boiler systems running off of one reactor, working together to provide power. And unfortunately, this is what you have to do with the underwhelming power that is generated from these nuclear reactors. I mean, it's really horrible. There should be a lot more power produced by these nuclear reactors, but we're just not getting it. So if I go to the front of the ship, you can already see there's two large batteries. This is the main power unit for the entire ship, are these two batteries. And then if I take you inside, here, let me switch back. Okay, you can see we have two electric generators. Now, both of these electric generators are individually run. So one is run from the first four set of steam turbines, and one is run from the second set of steam turbines. So they're both run independently. The one that comes down this side, there's this orange tube here. The one that comes down this side is running from the back turbines. Oh, I can actually kind of peek through the wall there. So you can see this orange pipe right here. This is the actual drive shaft to the electric turbine, or the electric generator. So this is going all the way back to that first set of boilers, way back there. And then if I go over here, you can see a second one here. It runs back and it stops at the front set of boilers. That's where it gets its power from. So again, two identical rooms, or two identical boiler setups. They're just mirrored throughout the ship, because I did them mirrored. Number one, it was easy to just copy and paste them and then flip it around. Number two, I did them mirrored because I wanted a balance. So I didn't want to stick a boiler. I didn't want to stick a boiler here and then a boiler here, because that would keep the back end of the boat heavy. So by mirroring it, I had a boiler here, I have a boiler over here, so they're a good distance apart, and then I have in between them, I have all of the turbines laid out, so the boat remains neutrally buoyant. That's also why I have the reactor back here, but I have the batteries up here, again, going for that neutral buoyancy. I don't want the front to be heavier than the back. I want it to balance itself out, so it stays nice and floaty and nice and level. So enough talking. I'm going to take you in, and I'll spawn this in. I hope to God it's working right now, because I messed with it and I don't remember if I left it in a working state or not. Curse sploosh. All right. So you can see it floats pretty much on the deck, which is kind of where I want it to float, to consider it neutral buoyant. I want it to float kind of at the deck, as you can see. So we'll go up the ladder. Sometimes that can be a little tricky. I have a control station up here, which I installed. I also had to rig up basically a switch that would allow me to switch between my control stations. So I'll open the top hatch here. I'll show you what I did with the main deck here. So you drop right down into the neck right here. This is the area that wasn't accessible because the ladder went all the way through. So I took the bottom part of the ladder out. So you just drop right into here. This is where I put all my control systems. So I've got my main power. Fire that up. You can see the indicator lights automatically came on for the boilers. These are my boiler indicator lights. Fire the main power up. Click. Okay, everything's on. So that brings up power for doors. That brings up power for basically everything. This thing here. Anything that requires a constant on, like the backlights, that's all controlled by this switch here. I got my reactor pumps. That pumps the hot water from the reactor to the boilers and back again. And then we're going to fire up. There they are. The reactor rods just went in, and you can already see the indicator on this guy's changed. I don't know why that changed. Maybe because it's below 15? Yeah, probably because it's below 15. So once that starts coming back up again, once it hits 15, it should go blue. Blue, of course, is cold. When it's flashing blue, it means it's warming up, but it's still cold. When it starts flashing green, it means it's almost ready. And when it goes solid green, it means it is good to go producing power, or good to go producing, yeah, we're above 15, okay. It means it's good to go and it's producing pressure. So I got my pressure from my two boilers here. I got my temperature for my 2 boilers here, and of course here I got my reactor rod temp, this is the one that'll go up to 400 and then back down, and then back up and then back down, and just bounce back and forth as the control rods adjust. I got my 2 batteries here, battery charge 1 and 2, and I got outside air pumps, which I was using for when I had the diesel. I was basically getting the diesel from the ship, but I didn't know if I had to provide air to that, so I rigged up a system. I'll go and show it to you actually. I rigged up a system where it didn't matter if I was underwater or not. I could turn on the pumps. Here's my reactor. And this would happen. So it would pump air down here, or water, depending on whether I was above water or below water. It'd pump it down here, and then I would have this break here, or this split, and it would filter air through here, and it would filter water through here, so the air would actually come out into this chamber, and the water would be expelled out the side of the ship. Is basically how I had that set up. So you can hear the reactor just humming away. There's the pumps I was talking about that pump the water to and from the boilers. There's one pump there. There's another pump on the other side. Whoopsie-doo. Another pump on the other side here. There it is. So this one pumps out, as you can see, by the flow valve, and this one pumps back in, as you can see again by the flow valve. And basically all it does is passes water on, over the top of the base of the reactor rods. Even though these are submerged in water, the actual flow of the water is just going across the top. So reactor's running. You can see through the floor here. I put some windows in so I can see the turbines. Can't do anything with them, but you can just see them. Go in here. Oh, this was when there were diesel fuel tanks in this. I had rigged up a way to refuel from outside. That's what these are for. I just haven't taken them out yet. The filler is actually right on the other side of this wall. Oh, there's my multi-station steering controller. Basically what it does is it takes input from 2 steering, the WSAD inputs from 2 steering locations, and it combines them. Well, it doesn't combine them. It just says which one's the one in charge. So if you send an on signal, the second one is what gets output. If you turn off the on signal, the first one is the one that gets output to the controls. So this is what's actually hooked up to my rudders and my engines and all that. It's all hooked up to this multi-station steering, and then my 2 steering locations are hooked up to this as well. And it just bounces back and forth and says, hey, which one's in charge? So this is the steering station below deck. I haven't really done anything as far as put in rooms or anything like that. I have a depth setting over here. I can set my depth, and then I can turn the dive engines on or off. I have a camera on the main deck, so I can see what's going on outside. I have speed, compass, and depth. Depth will fluctuate quite a bit. It'll stay somewhat around what I set it to, but it'll fluctuate. So you have to kind of play around with your depth settings. Submarines are always a pain in the ass. Anyway, going over here, there's my second boiler room, and I can open the front door. There's a nice little ladder here I put. Doo-doo. And this, of course, is where the 2 front batteries are. I have a tilt sensor here, which this tilt sensor was supposed to control rudders on the side of the boat. I've taken them out because it wasn't working. But they were supposed to control rudders on the side, so when I'm traveling along, if the boat starts going like this in waves, it was supposed to level it out, but I never got it working proper. It's still in here, but I never got it working properly. There's the 2 stabilizers I built to kind of work on that. Anyway, so I got my generator. My generator's keying up. Right now, what is happening is this power is coming from the electric motor firing up. So you're going to see this go up, and then as the electric motor runs out, you're going to see it come down. There it is. Now you're going to see the steam kick in, and I think only one of these generators is running at the moment, because one seems to build up pressure before the other one. I'm not sure if that's distance from the reactor. There it goes. So here comes the power, and it's this one that's running. See, this one's still not doing a damn thing. So this one's running right now. I'm getting about 350, 360 out of it. Somewhere in that area. Oh, it's dropping down. It'll fluctuate. It'll go down and up. So we're waiting for this one to kick in. It has not yet. I don't have pressure on this one yet. When the electric motor kicks in, you'll see it. It'll go up to about 50 to 100, I believe. Oh, there it goes. The electric motor's kicking in to give it a start. Just to start it up. I think it goes up to 50 or so. I could be wrong. So electric motor's kicking in. Electric motor's got it spinning. And then it'll start backing down. Yeah, you'll see it drop. And then the pressure valve is going to open and she's going to kick her into high gear. Any second now. Around 14, 13. There it is. Boom. So now we got pressure going to the turbines and we got the generator firing up. So we got both generators running now. In total, I got about 600 and, I don't know, 620 to 650 somewhere is where it usually hovers. Which, again, that's pretty crap output for nuclear power, honestly. Even in a reactor this size. So I think Stormworks, I think the team really needs to relook at their nuclear and say, okay, we need to do something because these generators are not providing the power they should be providing. And I've tried all kinds of gearbox setups. This is the best I can get from this setup. So we're gonna hop in the driver's seat here, and I'm gonna preset a depth of, let's say 10, and we'll head out. So fire it up and start moving her out. This submarine is nowhere. It is not Speedy Gonzales by any means. It is a very, very slow-moving vehicle. But I didn't build this to be fast. I built this to be cool. So we're moving at a whole speed of about 4 knots-ish, give or take. It will slow down a little bit as the batteries come down. That is one thing I should probably put on here is a battery gauge. Maybe put one right here that's just the bar that moves up and down just to show where my battery level's at. Because I find when it gets to about 75%, that's when you start getting some torque drop. So dive engine's on. It should take us down. There we go. Dive, dive, dive. Oh, I did close the top hatch. Did I? No, I didn't. Let's not say we did. Taking her up. Oh, we almost sunk it. That would have been funny. Okay. Good thing is I have a drain system in the back here, so we're just going to open up the back door. And it'll all flood down here and drain. So that's fun. Alright. Almost sunk our sub. Right out of the gate. That would have been friggin' fantastic. Okay, so hatch is closed. We're ready to dive. Hit the button once again. And you can see the dive engines have kicked in. And they're taking us down. So now the way that these dive engines are controlled are, you can see, I don't know if you can see, yeah, see right between those dive engines there, you can see that little circle between the dive engines, or the dive thrusters? That is a depth gauge. And what that depth gauge does is feeds a controller, which is right there. And that controller basically says, if we're not at the depth that we specify, give her thrust. Like, spin your motor. And then when we are at the depth that we specify, slow it down. Or stop it completely. So that's why you see it going up and down. Basically, the electric motor that's connected to these thrusters is turning on, turning off, turning on, turning off, and I can balance that out. If I wanted to put more control into this, right now that's basically all it does. It does either engine on, engine off, engine on, engine off. But as I say, I could put more control into this and say, okay, if we're within one of it, then we'll do 25% thrust. If we're within two of it, we'll do 50% thrust. You know, so I can adjust it to be a little more stable. Right now it bounces up and down. But really, you know, the result is the same. I have a submarine that's actually a submarine. I can completely shut down my forward thrust, and she should stay underwater. I can change my depth, so I'll go here and change this to 20, and she should take me down to 20. I don't have to turn this on and off because all it does is changes the number in the computer system. So the front will always go down first because that's, I don't know. That seems to be what, oh, am I going to bottom out? Oh, close. The front will always go down first for some reason. I don't know why. I guess maybe because the conning tower's in the rear and it acts as more of a ballast to pull it back up. So maybe the front's easier to drop than the rear. It will balance itself out here so it's not rocking like this. But that's basically because the engines went full thrust bringing it down and it overshot where it was supposed to be, so then it started floating back up again, and then it undershot where it was supposed to be, so it went full thrust again. And that's where I was talking about I can balance it out to make it a little more stable. Plus, I find also if you are driving forward, it does not do this as much. It stabilizes. It stabilizes a lot better when you're driving forward. So, driving forward, you could already see it stabilizing a lot more. The front is not bobbing as much as it was. It still bobs a little bit, but not as much as it was. So we'll go inside. You can see here I still have camera view. Can't see where the hell I'm going, but I still have camera view. I want to work on a periscope, which I will put on the back of the conning tower. In fact, you know what? Since we are here, and since we are doing this video, let's do that. Let's do a periscope, just for shits and giggles. So you can see that I actually do know how to build stuff. Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a while, about how I'm going to do a periscope, because the thought of a periscope, you got to make it go up and down, and there's nothing really in this game that goes up and down except for pistons, and they don't go that far. They only go like that far, maybe like 3 blocks, 2 blocks. So it's not enough to get a mast that goes above the water, you know. But I got to thinking, and I've used this design in a few other places. I'm gonna take out this here, make a hole. You can see there's more area here that is untouched. That's on the other side of that ladder. Untouched area, so it's basically a cavern of air. So that could be another constitution as why the back seems to want to float more than the front. I also put a second thruster on the front, which I maybe didn't need. I probably could have just stuck to the one thruster like I had when I first started the design, and it was working back then too. I found it didn't dive fast enough. That's why I put the second one on. But anyway, going back to the problem at hand of a periscope. So I got to thinking, a periscope has to go up and down a long ways. And I thought, well, what can I use to travel a long ways? Because I've made cranes before that can reach out and reach back. So why not take that crane design that I had and turn it on its end so it'll go up and down? So I'm going to try that and see if I can get it to work. And basically all I'm doing is linear tracks for that. So I'm going to put a linear track base right here, attach it there, okay, and then I'll run the track the length of the mast. So we'll run it like this up to say here. Okay, I put this back in as a design element, just for looks. Okay, so that is fine there. Now, I don't know if that's going to cause flooding in here. It looks like it's sealed. I trust that it's sealed, but I'm going to make it 100%. Just to be 100% sure that that cavity is still sealed. Okay, so there we have part 1 of the mast. Part 2 of the mast is going to be here. Okay, and let's put a camera at the top. Facing, I forget which way I got to face it. Arrow up. Okay, so arrow up on here. Hopefully this will work. Like so. Okay, so there's our periscope mast. And our periscope is now capable of going that length plus, well, that length above this block. So we can go another, how high is that going to be? That's going to be 1, no, let's count here. How high is that going to be? That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks. 11 blocks above this. So let's count 11 blocks up. Whoops, dang it. I'm not using a block here. Undo. Let's pick another color. Let's go to here, and we'll stretch this up 11 blocks. So 8, 9, 10, whoops, and 11. So there's the height of our periscope mast. Is that going to be tall enough? Do I want to go taller? I mean, that is a fair height for a periscope, I would think. I should really test it and go to 15 feet and see if that goes above the water. Because that's usually periscope depths around 15 feet. At least in all the video games I've ever played. Where periscope depth is a thing. So, we're going to hook that up. The only problem is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hook that up through the... I'm going to be able to hook that up through the ship because it's currently on a separate device. We'll see. Video from there, we'll go to... I'm going to have to put in a video splitter. I'm going to have to design a video splitter. So let's do that really quick. Actually, I don't know if there... Is there one? Is there a video splitter? No, there is not. There's just a divide. So let's make a video splitter, a really quick one. We'll go length 3. Oops. We'll go logic. Oh, wait, got to be length 4. Boom. Logic. On off. Video in, video in, video out. Okay. I'm basically going to be making this the same way as I made my 2 control stations. So this will be video out. Out, 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 out. Video out. 2 video in and a video out. Okay. So there is our video out. Video in, video in. Which one's this one? That's video 1, video 2. Okay. Camera 1. Input. Camera 2. Input. Video out. Put. And this is the camera 1, 2. Toggle. Okay. So we go in here, and this should be fairly simple to set up, I hope. I hope they made this simple. We'll see here. I know they did for composite, so hopefully they did for video. Video switch box. Ha! They did make it easy. Okay. So we'll just go like this, and we got video 1. Video 1, video 2, and on-off switch. Huzzah! Okay. So that will allow us to switch between our tower and our camera on the periscope. Oi. All right. We'll go over here. So go to video switch. And we'll call description switches between two video signals. Good enough. Symbol. I don't know. That look like a camera to you? Maybe. Do another camera here. There. And we'll do one TV down here. TV. Don't. And then. And then dot. I don't know if that looks right or not, or if it's going to look right. Whatever. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna line these up so they're. I know I'm taking way too much effort in doing this, but whatever. So 2 cameras connected to TV. Ah. Hopefully that's the way it looks when it's in the thing. So save. And simple hook to video switcher. And see how it looks. Oh yeah, it doesn't look too bad. 2 cameras, 1 monitor. It doesn't look too bad. As you can see, I'm like ridiculous when it comes to making microcontrollers. I have controllers for everything. I even have controllers for averaging. I have controllers for gearboxes, controllers for extension bridges, tank treads. LED. There's my boiler LED controller. I have averagers. Average 2 numbers together, 4 numbers together, 3 numbers together, and 5 numbers together. I have a 1-button anchor controller, coal power, jet power. Actually, I'm using this one right here in this build. It controls the water jets, whether you're going. You can use WSAD to control the things on the water jets, so you're going forward, backwards, left, right, all controlled through there. My steam boiler controller to make sure it doesn't go kaboom. A smooth clutch. Basically, it's exactly what it sounds. It slowly engages the clutch instead of hammering it. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of different things. Gate controller for my train build, so that when you push the button, it opens gates. Railcar safety brake controller. Oh yeah, so when the connector between the railcars is disconnected, the brakes automatically activate. I made that. My reactor controller. There's my steam boiler booster. There's a 2-minute counter on that, actually. There was my roll controller, submarine dive thruster controller, which is what I'm using right now to keep the thing underwater. There's oh, I think these are 2 different ones. Water controller, water jet controller. Oh, yeah, this one is if I'm running direct, and I should differentiate. One's for running direct and one's for running electric engine. And I have a WS engine controller, yada, yada, yada. And away we go. So anyway, enough of that. Let's hook up these cameras. I'm going to actually sit this in this void back here. There's my new video controller right there. Bam. Okay, so we're going to switch over to Logic Video. So we want video signal 1. Video signal 2. Output from that goes to the monitor down here. Okay, and we're going to have to put a button down there as well to switch between the 2. I also want to put in an averager for the batteries and output the battery power. So we'll do that. I don't want this video to get too long, but I do want to do a few things here. So we'll delete that and that, and we'll delete that. Let's go down here. Display. We want to display gauge, get the same color as the rest of it. Actually, I don't like that color for that. How about we go yellow for the battery gauge? Rotato. I forget which way is the top. We'll find out in a second. No, that's backwards. Whoops. Rotato. There we go. Okay, so that's our battery gauge. And then we need a push button. Actually, we need a toggle button. toggle button, and we'll make it pink right there. And get our nice little paintbrush and match the display. All right. Logic. So we're going to need power to these things. Always need power for friggin' everything. Power, up to that and that. Come up here. Need power to this. Need power to this. Okay, grab our video display. Or not our video display. Grab our video button. Where's our button? There's the button for the video. Grab that. Bring it up to our controller. Okay. Oh, shoot. We're also going to need a controller for this guy. You know what? When we switch to that, let's do that together. Let's... Yeah. Okay. Let's... I think I have an on-off. I think I have a 1-0 controller. Do I? Yes. On equals 1. There it is. So I have a binary controller already built. What this does is it outputs 0 when it's off. It outputs 1 when it's on. I think... Oh, wait. No, I need a negative. Shite. On, off. Okay. I built that twice, apparently. So I need an on, I need a 1, -1 is what I need. So let's go to our workshop here. Let's load up. Let's load up one of those binary ones because I don't need 2 of them. 1 equals on, binary to button, button to binary. Oh, binary to button, button to binary. Oh, okay. So those are 2 separate things. Okay. So let's make a new one. New microcontroller. Sure. And this is going to be simple up down controller. Outputs 1 when on, -1 when off. And we need that to be that big. Okay. On off, and output is going to be a number. This is going to be a very simple controller. Toggle on, off. It's going to be a very, very simple controller. So we're going to go 1. We'll go -1. Made that one taller than that one. There we go. Actually, let's fix that again. There we go. And then I want to do drawing of a push button. So I want to do push button like this, and then I want to do push button like this. 1 is on, -1 is off. Simple. Let's adjust our drawing a little bit here. Oops. So I can put another negative, or elongate the negative, I should say. And I'll get rid of that, like that. There we go. 1 on, -1 off. Okay. Now, over here, this is going to be really easy. We just need a numerical switch box. Hook it up to our toggle here. 2 constant numbers. One's going to be 1. One's going to be -1. Oops. And of course the -1 is going to be when it's off. So off, on, done. Really simple controller. What did I call it? I came up with a good name for it. What was it? Simple up-down controller. Okay. Save. Oh, wait. I didn't move these around. Oops. There we go. Here. Simple up-down controller. Save. Okay, now we're going to go back to here. Up. There it is. Boom. Boom. Okay. Simple up-down controller. So, when it's turned on, it's going to go up. When it's turned off, it's going to go down, which is logical. Speaking of logic, let's go to our button, our video switch button. Okay, we'll rig that into there. We'll rig the motor from that into, or the output from that into the slider speed. So that'll control it to go up and down. And why does that seem like it's in the wrong side? I didn't build that backwards, did I? No. Okay. Alright, so that fixes up the video. That does the video alright. Now, for the battery monitor, I need to take a two-part averager. So I'm going to go into my average here. AVG. Oh, wait. AVER. Okay, there it is. I'm going to take a two-button averager, or two-number averager. I'll just drop it on top of the battery here, or up on the roof, or wherever it needs to go. Good enough. I'll take my two battery outputs. One here, one here. It'll average those together, and it'll send that back to my console here. Primary display value is the white needle? No, I want the red needle. Actually, no, I want the white needle. Okay, white needle. I'll put the red needle at I'll put the red needle at probably 0.75 maybe? No, I'll put it yeah, because that's when I start losing power from shit. That's when power starts drifting. So I'll put the red needle at 0.75. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. I want this one. Wait, why can't I? Oh, that's a constant on signal. Bah! Constant number is what I want. There we go. Set our constant number to 0.75. 7.5. Okay, we'll rig that up to our console as our red needle. Then we need to convert this so max value is 1, minimum value is 0. And we'll go battery power level. And this one is going to be P-A-R-A-C-O-B. Or is there, I want to say that's a... Yeah, I'll just leave it like that. Periscope? Per-I? Is there an I there? I don't know. Ah, fuck it. I'll just leave it. It's not a word I constantly spell, so I don't know the spelling of it that well. Periscope? I don't know. Whatever. It's all good. So we have all of that hooked in. The only thing we need now is to hook in the backlights, or the backlight for the one. We will do what I did with the rest of them, which is hook it to the main power key. Not the reactor pumps, the main power key. There it is. We'll hook the backlight up to that. Bam. And that gets rid of all the exclamation points. Here you can see the controllers for the dive planes. I put each one on their own individual one, so they're all monitoring separately what depth they're at, which kind of gets you to balance out at the proper depth. So you can see the electric motor here is being controlled by the thruster. The thruster takes your depth reading, or the program depth reading. It takes the whether it's on or off, and then it gets the reading from the actual fluid meter, tell you what depth you're at. This specific fluid meter is also piggybacked to the depth meter that I'm actually reading here. So this is the closest meter I could get to pretty much where I'm sitting. It was either this one or this one, so I just picked this one. And I said, okay, so I want to know what depth I'm at, and it'll read that from there. That's the depth I'm getting. I'm not getting the depth from the front, I'm not getting the depth from the back, I'm getting the depth from right here. And that's what's being displayed at my control panel. Because that'll give me probably the best idea of where the ship actually is. So, we'll save this nuclear sub. Save. And let's go test out our periscope. We should actually, when we switch to it, be able to see it going up. Whee! Overshot. This is one of the reasons I like having the main deck at the water level, because I don't need a ladder to get on. I can just, there I am. The only ladder I need is the one to get up here. I'll also show you this when I'm taking her out. It will not actually function until the ship's powered up. So we'll power it up here. Reactor pumps on, reactor rods on. Now this upper deck will function. Okay, so I go over here, and when I press this toggle, like I said, all I'm doing is taking the I'm switching from the inputs of the one controller to this controller. I'm just changing the number. I'm using numerical switch boxes basically. So WS is sent as a number, 1 to -1. And A and D is the same. It's sent as a number, 1 to -1. So all I do is I take those inputs and I say, okay, if this is on, then the switch box just switches as to which one it's sending out. That's all I did. It's really simple to do. Anyway, steering on, and now I have full control from up here. I can do my steering, I can do my whatever from up here. If I shut that off, you just have to take my word for it that right now I'm holding the W key and nothing's happening. So turn that back on, and away we go. Of course, if I leave that turned on when I go below deck, I have no steering. Because it turns off the station down below. So, yeah. I mean, it's also not a real safe thing, because somebody could just, a pirate could just hop on the top of your sub and take over your sub. And you can't do anything about it because you're stuck inside. But, yeah. Maybe you can radio somebody. I got a radio here. So we'll take the sub out here a little bit until we can get to a depth where I can actually submerge. I'm pretty sure I can submerge it right here. Let's stop right here. Switch that back off. Clickety click. Yes, I have forgotten that numerous times. As you could probably tell, I almost did now. So we'll go down below deck here to our video station. Okay, and oh, we're already on the rear mast. Why are we already on the rear mast? I have those back. I have them backwards. You can see the mast does work up and down, but these are backwards. I have cameras 1 and 2 backwards. Okay, so back to the workshop. We'll switch that around real quick. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. I just have my camera feeds backwards. So go to video, and okay. So this one should be number 2. This one should be number 1. For some reason, I don't know why. I probably have it in the controller. I probably have them switched by accident. I probably have off as being on and on as being off in the controller itself. But it doesn't really matter. I can just work with it like this for now. Save. And spawn. I'll go back out here. Oh, I'll head back out to the boat. Whee! Oh, I'm going to clear it. No, I didn't. Yay. Okay. I want to turn this this hatch too so it's facing sideways. I don't know if I can though, because hatches are a weird shape. Just for the simple fact that it blocks your conning tower, or it blocks the tower control. Like I can come up on this side, but now I can't walk to that side. And I could if the hatch was off to the side there. If it opened sideways, I could do that. So I'm gonna see if I can eventually do that. I don't know if I can. I don't think I have the room there for it, but we'll see. Oh, power on. Gotta power on everything or nothing's gonna work. There we go. Reactor just engaged. Alright. Video on. Okay, now we're on the right camera. And then if I go to Periscope, up we go. Yeah! Beautiful! Okay. And the Periscope comes down as soon as you shut that off. Okay, perfect. So our power level right now is at 100%, and red line is 75. So let's start moving this boat, and watch that gauge adjust as it were. That power is going to drop fairly regularly until the generators get generating. And the reason I put it in as yellow and then painted it afterwards is because I wanted the gauge to be yellow. You can see the gauge isn't affected by the paint that you put on the other side, on the outside. Oh, wait, I do have power coming in right now. I have power on the cells, or the solar panels. Okay, so we should be far enough out now. Okay. I'm not sure if I can put a rotation eventually on the periscope. That would be cool. Control it maybe with the left and right arrow keys, so I can actually look around. That would be kind of cool. So maybe that'll be something I'll work on in the future. To see if I can get that going. But right now, we're gonna dive. Let's do a depth of 10. I don't think is gonna put us on the bottom, but it should be all right. Oh, and let's hope we close that door. Pretty sure we did. We're gonna drown? We're not gonna drown. Okay. And, okay, so 10's gonna put us on the, pretty much on the bottom. That's fine. Now, how's our periscope? What's our periscope depth? Aha! So at 10, our periscope is right there. Okay, that's awesome. I love that. That's pretty sweet. At 10, our periscope is right on the surface, like right there. Are we at 10? What are we at? We're at 8. So if I set this, maybe I'll set this at 8 and see what happens. Let's set it at 8. Maybe 8 is going to be our periscope depth. Oh, it's bringing it up way too far. And it's going to do the jockey thing where it bounces up and down. Okay, let's do some forward momentum series to see if we can get ourselves stable at 8. See where we're stable. Okay. And I'm wondering why the back end is hanging so high. Because that is not 8. There it goes. There it goes. Plus maybe I need more, maybe I need a second thruster on the back end here, but these ones were pretty close, that's why I didn't put another one. Okay, so if that's 8, if we're traveling along and that's 8, let's travel along at 10 and see what happens. Oh. Okay, now we're traveling along. Wow. Why is the back end trying to float? I'm having a hard time figuring out why this back end is trying to float. It was not reacting like this 2 seconds ago. You can see those thrusters trying to work their way. Trying to keep that back end down. For some reason it's light. But I mean, I have no idea why our sub is traveling the way it is, but the periscope is staying in place, so that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm only at 80%. I'm only at 80%, so I'm not at the point now where she's not getting enough power to stay under. And it's going to start floating up. Weird. Why is it so light on the back end now? I didn't do anything back there. Unless maybe it's because the reactors aren't running. I normally wait before I take off. I normally wait until the reactors have kicked in. So let's see what happens when the reactors actually kick in, if it levels itself off. Maybe it can't stay under without the reactors running. Because right now they're not. Right now it's all running off the batteries. It might need reactor power to stay down. We'll be able to tell because right now you can see, if I turn sideways, right now she's definitely nose down. Oh, okay. This one's coming up. Before this one? The hell is going on here? Why is this reactor starting first? This makes no sense. It's always this one. Something's going on here. I don't know what's going on. We'll find out in a second, though. Why is this reactor starting first? Okay, she's fired. This one here is not doing a damn thing. Did I accidentally delete a pipe or something? I gotta go check my gauges. Something weird's going on here. Wow, this one is heating up really slowly. Normally it's this one. You can see the light blinking, the blue light, saying that it's getting there. And then we got a green light. It's going to flash until we start building up decent pressure. And then once we have decent pressure, that'll go solid. I am surprised this boiler is taking so long to fire up. It's usually the first. I got the pumps turned on. Okay, here comes the pressure. I think when it hits 2 is when this goes solid. Yeah, there we go. So we got pressure in turbine 2 now. It's going to fire up. And for some reason these guys are holding around 6 psi. At one point I had them up at 8, but I couldn't get them to stay there for some reason. They just kept dropping down. Dropping back down to 6. So we have the boiler temperatures above 100, which is a nice area for them to be. And our reactor rods, you know, comfortable 300 area. Okay, so we have all the reactors fired up right now, and the back is still heavy, or the back is still light. And we got all of our reactor rods pushed in. Why is the back of the boat still light? This is the question that is boggling my mind right now. Why is the back of the boat light? Just because we put a periscope on? I don't see that. I don't see that being a reason. Because that's all we did. All we did was put a periscope on. We didn't change anything else. Let us take a look. Where's our boat? Where's our boat? Turn to the workbench. Okay. Let's take a quick look here. Find out what's going on. We've got all of our motors are hooked up. We've got a periscope. Why are we floating in the back? Reactor has water. This has always been like that. Okay. And those are normal. I haven't changed anything in here. Both generators kicked on, so that tells me that they're actually working and sealed. So I don't have a pipe leaking somewhere. I just need more weight in the back, I guess. I didn't before, but apparently I do, so let's add a little more weight. I'll put these in as brown blocks just so I know they can be removed if this causes an issue. Let's go with a little more weight than that. There. Let's try that. Let's see how she floats. Unless the back room of that conning tower, unless it was exposed to the air, maybe it was exposed to the air, and I have now sealed it, which means that the back end's going to have more floating than the front. But I mean, as I look at this, it looks like it's floating pretty level right now. Maybe a little bit heavier in the back now. So let's see how she dives. Anyway, I'm totally psyched that our periscope's working. Again, I will see if I can make it rotate at some point. I'm not going to do that right now. This video's already way longer than I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to call it very soon. Probably after this trial. We'll go out here, we'll fire up our depth to 10 feet. And I'll keep driving forward as I'm doing that. So we're driving forward, and we'll set this to 10 feet right now. Okay, and drive forward. And we will engage this, and it will take us down. As you can see, we are diving. A very slow dive, but a dive nonetheless. Sometimes you gotta stop a little bit just so it'll get that nose down attitude. Then you go forward again and it'll make it go down a little nicer. A little smoother. It's all about finessing. Can't get it perfect, but you can get it close. Okay, so we are now underwater. And you can see our camera's now underwater. Our depth is set to 10, and we are at about 8. Let's switch to our periscope. And the periscope's underwater. So 10 is too deep for the periscope. Alright, so let's set her at 8. Actually, you know what? Let's set her at 9. Let's see what happens at 9. Oops. 9. See what happens at 9. See if she comes above the surface at 9. Ooh, just peeking. Just a touch on the surface. Just barely there. So it looks like our periscope depth is going to be 8 on this boat. So we'll go to 8. There we go. We're above water now. Look at it rising. Why are we going all the way to the surface? All I did was change it to an 8. I didn't change it to a 0. Okay, maybe it doesn't like the number 8. Because that's what I had it set for before when it was doing funky. I don't know why it would have a problem calculating 8, but we're definitely not at 8. We're only at 5. So get this boat back underwater there, you thrust jets. As you can see, there is some finesse needed in the system. And it's going nose down again, although that's fine. I expect the nose to go down first because like I said, the conning tower's got some air to it, so it's going to keep it, it's going to resist the thrusters going down. It shouldn't be able to stop the thrusters going down, but it will definitely resist them. My battery level's already at 80, so that could also be an issue. Our camera, however, is above the water, as you can see. I would like for it to be a little deeper, though. So, that's the way I want it, right there. So the mast is above the water, but the tower is below the water. And I could probably do a little bit of a better job if I were to put a rotator on there. I could then go down to 9, and it would probably be above the water. So I might do that in the future. Right now, like I said, this video is getting pretty long, so I don't really want to keep going with it. I could honestly sit here for hours and hours and hours playing with this. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. We have a nice tower camera. We can see above the waves while the ship is below the waves, or at least mostly below the waves. I don't know why it keeps popping up. It likes to pop up. I don't know. Probably because our battery's still running 73. So our battery right now is below the minimum of where I want it to be. Because once again, I didn't let the reactors kick up. 67, 65. So these guys are pretty close to being balanced right now. 70, 67. Maybe not. But this guy's still going to fire up first, which is weird. Because all of my testing before now, this guy's always fired up second. 76, 70. But anyway. So that's a good look at my submarine here. Once again, I did not build the hull. I modified the hull here and there, but I did not build it. Huge props to... I don't know how to pronounce your name, buddy. I really don't. I really don't. Let me try. Let me try. Let me try. Let me try. Okay. Okay. The spoon. Kosch? Is that Kosch? Kosch? TheSpoonkosch? I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. But anyways, thank you for putting the sub hull on the workshop so I could grab it and mess around with it and do this kind of fun stuff with it. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. I'm gonna hop out here. We're gonna quit to the main menu, and I never save because I basically started the game, saved it right away, and then so now I can build my stuff, and once I have a few good ships, and then I can start playing the game. That's basically how I set it up. So when I load in, I'm always loading in just as a fresh new game, but I don't have to go in and configure anything because I've already done that. I saved it right after I configured everything. So Sparty. No, but anyway, take care, everybody. This is Jodian signing off. I will see you next time. Bye-bye now.